Hello and welcome to the back office teardown lab. I'm just back from some exercise and eating this incredibly disappointing Sainsbury's Peshwari naan. It's not quite bread and it's not quite cake. I don't really know how you describe that. However, you can see I've got the multimeter out because I want to make a video about these. I was having quite a good conversation this morning on Twitter with a gentleman. We got into some battery banter, and it was started off as joking battery banter. How many AA, where are all the AA cells going, and why do we keep having to buy all these batteries from Amazon? Is it like some sort of conspiracy? Are these batteries only half full, so we have to keep using more of them? Who knows? However, it reminded me that I do have these batteries that my late father gave to me some years back, and you can see the date on the battery. Is November 2018, so they're quite old, and I'm not sure if they've really got any juice in them, but I always wanted to know what was in them. So you can see it's 9.8 volts, so they're really keeping their charge. I mean, they're probably pretty good, they're ever ready, but they are out of date, and I did want to have a quick look inside one. So I was hoping we'd just dismantle one, because you know it's 9 volts, so it sounds to me like there should be 6 cells in there. my massive powers of math. But I always like to know whether or not those cells are of some sort of standard-ish size. I mean, they are quite long, so they're probably not. They're obviously not AA cells. But I wonder if they're a little bit like those lithium cells. So I just want to see how you get into them and how. What we might experience. I'm hoping they won't just burst into flames. Now, it does feel like quite a thick plastic. Like this is something that you might want to just take a hacksaw blade around. But I'm going to work at it with the side cutters. Oh, there we go. And you can see they're really well made. There is a double layer of that plastic in there. We can keep going. Just another typical evening. Now we're getting there. I think if we just do another bit more, we'll probably get to the point where we can shove a screwdriver down the edge. In fact, it's almost like this is breaking the seal. I can feel it almost being a bit wobbly now. But when I was a kid, these definitely were more popular in things. I'm trying to think what, probably like radios, those weird flashing lights that the council used to put on skips, things like that. But definitely, if you went to the shops now, I suspect you wouldn't find one. It's a bit of a specialist item. And at the time, I think my dad was just ordering something off Amazon or Screwfix or wherever, and they just sent him the wrong thing. So he'd ordered, you know, probably like a new Makita drill or something, and then they just sent him a pack of batteries. I can't quite remember the detail at the time. It was some time ago. It was probably, you know, 2015 or something. If these batteries are dated 2018, then I think that's their expiry. It would be definitely some years before that. I don't know if you'd be pleased to see that I never actually found a use for them, but what can you do if you don't have a device that uses the battery? Well, you could have flogged it. Right, now let's get the old knife out gingerly. See if we can just probe it without piercing. I think we have to gonna go in through there, and we want a flat thing like a screwdriver. Oh yes, we're in. Let's zoom out a bit. Let's have a proper look at this. So I don't think it really is anything that I expected. In fact, look at that. So we've got a bit of paper in there, some Chinese writing. It's just actually a plastic top, so that'll be good for keeping screws in. A piece of regular cardboard. There are indeed 6 cells, but now I was not expecting that at all. I was expecting literally 6 batteries of some description, you know, in terms of like C cells, D cells, or something semi-recognisable. But these are absolutely flat like a pancake. Do we go further? I feel we're at the point though where this battery is actually still usable, but maybe we can dissect it a little bit more. Now it doesn't look like there's actual juice in there, but I have been wrong before. And it does seem to be sealed with some sort of wax. You can just about see on the top there is a wax seal, so it is kind of attempting to be sealed against something, and perhaps all those cavities inside are filled with a wax. In fact, they absolutely are. So yeah, it probably isn't the smartest thing in the world to open it up. So let's open it up. Now, how much capacity is in one of these batteries? If it all goes wrong, I don't think it's got the same energy density at all as a lithium cell. It probably not quite be as dramatic as you've seen on the internet with mobile phones and things like that blowing up. Okay, so I'm just peeling that off. Now, I remember lots of projects when I was a kid. You used to have those books, you know, from the 50s or 60s that were like the big book of science for boys, and it would it was always for boys, by the way, and it always would have stuff like, you know, rocket cars, nuclear fusion batteries that you put in your torch, stuff like that. And then there was always a section on projects you could do at home, you know, like science projects you could do at home. And they often involved dismantling batteries, so you could like, you know, examine the carbon rod in the battery and all the chemicals. So I don't really know what's in batteries a lot of the time. I mean, I suspect it could be zinc, carbon and vinegar, probably the best bets. I don't know if they're particularly toxic chemicals. I think it's probably less toxic than you think. Now I am tempted to just pop the old soldering iron on. I think I'll just get rid of these wires because they're in our way. But just to describe this is what I imagine those MREs feel when you see those people eating those military rations on YouTube, and it feels like a waxy mass, because that's what it is, just basically wax. It's got that same feel as if you're stroking a tea light candle. And we're going to try to attempt to desolder this. Look at the thermal mass. And I do actually have new tips, but I haven't fitted them. Maybe it's a good opportunity. And that's 400 degrees we've got this iron to, and it's not even touching this. That is crazy. Let's put a little bit of flux on it. I think we might just have to leave it or snip it. That's our options here. Yeah, it's just got no thermal mass in this iron for such a massive blob. Well, we'll leave it be. Let's just cut it off. And I'll just leave a touch so we can see the polarity. But I would like to see if I can just prise these apart a little bit, because then we can measure inside and just see if we can get a voltage between the plates of the expected voltage. And that actually is quite hard to cut, so yeah. Oh, ho, 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 ho. There you go. That is actually, look at that. That's the chemicals of the battery, just laid bare. That's fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating. Let's take that off. Now, if you knew what the metals were, they're always these dissimilar metals, aren't they? Like, it's the same you'd have at school for doing a test with electrolysis and things like that. Or you were transferring some chrome or tin onto something. So let's put the old voltmeter on. So I've got this on the back here. I'm guessing that whole plate is connected. And we're just going to see. We should be looking for 1.5 volts. Well, I'm getting almost 1 volt basically, but where do you measure it from? So that's reading just over 1 volt. Obviously the polarity is the other way around, so let's put 2 together. We'll just push them together. There you go, 2 volts. And you can see they were kind of mushed into each other. Maybe if you heat them up or something, you could get them having a better contact area. 3.5 volts. That is so cool. 4.8 volts. Now we're getting there. 6.3 volts. So have we got less voltage? Didn't we measure the old 9 volts when we tried this first? Oh, there we go, 9.81. And that's me giving it a bit more of a squeeze. So yeah, you have to really give it a bit of a squeeze to get its maximum volts out of it. But that is bloody interesting, isn't it? That is just really cool. I did not expect that at all. I think you could actually remake this cell, to be honest. In fact, maybe I'll just do that. So I've got my remaking apparatus pretty much ready. I should have eaten my bit of naan. It's still sitting there. I'm a bit scared to touch it now with the old dirty fingers. However, let's give it a go. So we're going to try to bundle this up nice and tight. And I thought insulation tape's good because it's got a bit of spring on it. Yes, that's not bad. Now I'm going to give it a good old squeeze. I suspect you could probably do it in a clamp. But I wonder how they make these little energy pods, you know, are they made all individually packed in a, and then just assembled at the end of the production line. I was almost half expecting like something you might see on Big Clive or something, where you've got a battery like this and it's just got a normal little PP3 in there, a normal little 9 volts and some sand. Right, we've got the hot air going. Oh, it's working. Almost dropped my naan off then. Suppose you could drip a tea light on there if you wanted to seal it up a bit more. Look at that. Dead professional, that is, dead professional. Now, to really make sure we've done a good job, of course we need to measure the voltage again. Here we go. Now we've got the probes actually the right way around this time. So we will see a positive voltage, hopefully, if we switch it into volts mode. 3, 2, 1, hey presto, 9 point, oh, can't see it. It was 9.79 volts, look, here we go. 9.8, there we go, got a little bit more. I guess the next step of this would be to solder those wires on and pop it back into there, but I reckon that's it. I could just recover this, just solder those on and we're good. So, I don't know what to do with the rest of these. Do you have an application for these batteries that you need them? You know, just ping me on the old Discord or something and say, just let me know. If you're in the UK, you can have them, pay postage. I don't know what they're worth, to be honest with you. They might be just like literally £1, but we'll find out. As ever, thank you for watching.